morning and happy Friday, kids. I am so excited today. It's going to be such a great day. The sun is shining. The weather is beautiful. Cannot complain. So today I have James Adams with me. Met this guy. Literally, when you go to conferences, I swear, like you run into the same people over and over and over. There's like 4,000 people, and I continue to see this guy. And I was like, who is he? Ended up having a couple dinners with as a group, and we got to talking, and we've talked about different things and teams and how things happen. And I was like, yeah, like let's totally get together and let's share a little bit of our journey, our experience from life to work to everything. So welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So again, this is James, and as always, I really just ask my people who lovingly join me on this just to take a little time and introduce like who you are, like and really like who you are, like what's your family and all the good stuff. So tell us a little bit about your background.
First off, I want to thank you for inviting me on here, and also for being you. Every time I've ever met you, you're just a beautiful person. You ask the best questions.
Aww.
You're genuinely curious about other people, and you come from a beautiful place. So I want to start from there.
Thanks.
You got it. And for me, I'm a pretty irregular kid. I really got started early on in baseball, and I think that's where my work ethic came from. I remember once my dad was asked by another parent, like, why do you make him work so hard? And he's like, I ain't asked that kid to do anything ever. Like,
Yeah.
and I would, be there before or after practice for 2 hours hitting tees, and just, I don't know where it came from, but that started there. And then some things happened in my life early on where I'd lost my mom, and that was around 15. And after that, got involved in drugs, partying, hanging out, and brought me down some dark paths where I got in a lot of trouble. And that trouble lasted a long time. Like, it lasted all the way until my dad passed at 23. And around this time, I was pretty well destroyed. Didn't really care much about what had happened to me or what's going to happen next. Didn't have any grand visions. And at that point, there was a period that happened that kind of woke me up forever. And it was driving home. I was driving, drinking, and I crashed a car with another person and rolled it a few times. And, we landed upside down and plopped him out, got him out, looked at him, and neither one of us had any real damage to us. And
Wow.
in the moment, you're like trying to get out of trouble or whatever you're doing. But then over the next week, like, all these scenarios run through your head, right? Like, man, I could be dead. I could have killed my passenger. I could have killed somebody walking down the road. I could be in prison right now, and dealing with the conscious of that. And then the thoughts come into your mind of like, okay, so like people die doing way less crazy stuff every single day.
Yeah.
So me going through this and living means that maybe there's something more for me here, and I need to start opening up. And right around that same time, I actually met my future wife. We definitely didn't know. She's sitting over here. We didn't know that we were going to be future husband and wife when we met. That's for sure. But I met her, and we both kind of started on this journey where little by little we started to take away some of the things that we like to indulge in, and kind of the childhood, I don't know, funsies that we did. And through that process, we really started to open up and think about what we could create. But the first thing we did was, there's a piece missing here where I played a lot of pool from 18. I mean, I still play, but from 18 on, I didn't make it in college for baseball. So I don't know, I somehow found a pool room and was obsessed. And through meeting Jen, cleaning myself up a little bit, we actually got to travel around where I believe I made it to be 77 in the world.
Wow.
Yep. I was, I won one of the biggest amateur championships that you can win, was the Florida State Amateur Player of the Year, and finished second on the Pro Tour that year, which was a lot of fun. And it was kind of what I needed, I think, to prepare me for this. It showed me how to diagnose my weaknesses and get through there. And I'm trying to figure out how to tell this in like a more like the best.
It's great.
Okay. So through that, there was a point in time where Jen and I were deciding on, should we have a family or not? And the decision was to have a family. And that meant that, we had to square some things away. In that process, we had some family things that came up or put our businesses on hold, and we went down there to take care of her father-in-law. And just through that process, it was kind of beautiful. Like, I accidentally decided I was going to come into real estate. My real estate agent at the time made a joke about it. Told him I wasn't making any money. What do I do now? And he's like, "Come work for me." I'm like, "What's that look like?"
I
And
love that.
right, like, complete default. Was never meant to be in real estate, but here I am. And then Braden was born, and that's a whole nother gear. I've always been responsible for myself, and like I said here, right, there was times where I didn't even care what happened to myself, and now I look down at the little mini me, and that's different, right? Like,
Yep.
he deserves those opportunities that maybe I thought that I could have had. And I had great parents, but they definitely had their flaws, and I learned from them in order to try to help Braden. And yeah, yeah, that's
I
kind of
love
what
that.
brought me here to where I am today, I think.
I love that. I think God was like really trying to get your, I mean, he got your attention. And, similar, I think so many people can relate to the fact that I've gone through this and I went through this and I went through this. And at some point, some stuff starts to escalate. And then you're like, okay, like I get it. Like I totally get it. So I am so proud of you for understanding that there's so much more to life and that you took the second to stop and listen,
Yeah.
because I think so many of us, and I'll be the first to admit, it's using these and listening with my heart and my ears and my spirit that is the biggest struggle sometimes, but it's the biggest lessons that we can learn is to, like, okay, it's not about me. I get it. Like, let's take a breath here. So that's amazing. And I mean, a pool. So was this just 8 ball game? Like, I'm not a big pool thing, but I know how to play some snooker.
Yep.
And, so I have a little bit of poolness in me, but I mean, like, you were pro at which game per se?
All of them.
All of them.
So the banks, one pocket, 9 ball, 10 ball, 8 ball. Not any straight pool or snooker. I played a little bit of snooker, but not no. If you're going to
It's
be a
tough.
professional snooker player, you started playing when you were like
Yeah.
4.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. It's a
yeah,
big
snooker
table.
players off the chain. Yeah, they're so good. But yeah, no. Basically, the games are kind of jarbled. Professional pool is not super professional. There's a lot of pieces missing there. Um, but it's a beautiful game. It's something where there's not many games like it. So I would
Yeah.
say pool is most similar to bowling. I guess golf would be one. One-on-one sports are interesting. It's also similar to fighting in a way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, your competitions, you're in here. So,
Yeah.
which is fantastic because I think that in real estate, or if you're wanting to be an entrepreneur in any capacity, this fella right here is what you got to get like spot on. So, which leads me to my next question. If someone was watching this and they're looking to get into real estate or anything else that is on that entrepreneur line, do you have any like top advice that you'd love to hand out?
Yeah. Yeah. I think the first thing there is to acknowledge that this isn't about you. Would be my first thing I want to say to an entrepreneur, because trust me, if you're watching this, and I hope you can, I hope you can't relate to this, but if you can, let's talk about it. We all want to be this guy, right?
Right.
Yeah,
The ego.
we want to own it, right? Like, we want to own it, but no matter what you believe, I'm kind of trying to be careful here, but you know, man, God brought me all the way. I didn't know it, but like, he had an angel here, he had a nudge here, he had things that were just bringing me just barely, like, I'm off the path, but I'm right next to it, or I'm
Yeah.
on the path and I'm veering off, but he's got a guard there to push me back. Like, without me, I didn't acknowledge him. I didn't thank him. Didn't have gratitude. And when I look back, it's kind of like, man, I had this dad that just loved me so much, no matter how much of a a
You can
crappy
say
human
shitty.
being, okay, shitty human being that I was being,
Okay.
like, he was still there and loving me the entire way. Like, he never stopped loving me, even though I had turned my head and turned my back and
Mhm.
done everything. And then one day he brings me all the way there, and he pops his head in a beautiful way and says, "Here you go, kid," and slaps me on the butt. And now
Yeah.
I've got to look back and just, it's so humbling to know that, like, yes, you can get real far with this, right? Like, you can muscle through. But the first thing is to accept that this isn't about you, and what is the real purpose of why you're here.
Yeah.
And if you want to become an entrepreneur, I think the first thing is, what is the problem that you want to solve?
Yep.
And you may need to ask that question a bunch of times, because you need to find the problem that you want to solve, and then it also has to fall in line with your passion.
Yeah.
And if those two things are there, it really helps. Now the question becomes is, do you have the discipline and work ethic in order to go through what you need to go through in order to get to a place? Because it's not easy, right? If
Nope.
someone needs a ton of inspiration or motivation, uh, that, it's going to be very hard to start a business. You definitely need to be a self-starter, and you need to be someone who can get
Yeah.
yourself up and running.
Yep. And I always, to add to that, because that's absolutely perfect. I love that. I always say also to feed yourself, not just physically, but mentally and spiritually, because you've got to have all of this lined up, and not just every now and then. Like it's a daily thing. Like it is. And if you're not doing it daily, you're going to find that you're going to sit back, and then things are going to start to get heavy. And I'm good with a little bit of pressure, but I'm also pretty good with just taking a little bit off and realizing that I'm not here for everyone and everyone's not here for me, but I'm here for the people that are absolutely supposed to be in my life.
Yep.
And once you stay focused on the people and solving their problems, whatever that is, the the rest is just, I don't know, it's such a liberating feeling too. Once you get it, and that's what you like I'm trying to teach my team. I'm sure you are as well. Like this is what we do. This is our values and our standards and our principles, and this is what we're going to hold tight to. So I love that. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I mean, in terms of choosing the avenue to go, though, you got to know. So, like, if you do not, and let's be real, if you genuinely don't like other people, right?
This may not be for you.
Well, like, real estate's going to be an issue. I'm not saying you can't make it, right? Because,
Right,
like,
absolutely.
I'm listening to Elon Musk earlier, and I'm sure that the guy loves people on a whole because of his mission, right? I guarantee that guy does not like to communicate with many people,
Correct.
because
I
that,
would
right?
agree.
Like, he's not going to be on the sales force. Like, he's not.
No.
But so there are avenues as an entrepreneur where you can, be without people. But in real estate, man, we are building relationships and we're loving
Yeah,
on people. That's for sure. So
all the
that's got
time.
to be in there.
I love it. So tell us a little bit about where you're located. Because I know you're in Florida as well. So actually I know where you are, but tell the world where you are.
Yeah. So I live in a tiny little town called Brooksville. And Brooksville's recently expanded because we disbanded a city called Wikiwachi. So it got bigger, but the downtown Brooksville is only 7,500 people. And I grew up in the town next door in Spring Hill, which is much bigger. It's been built up now. And in terms of our team and who we serve a lot of Central Florida. Actually, it's gotten to expand quite a bit because our area is so small. There's not, we got to
Yeah,
go out. But yeah, Spring Hill, Brooksville, in that area.
love it. So, and you're with EXP. How long have you been with EXP?
Joined EXP. God, it's been 2 years now. So I joined
Nice.
EXP October of 2020.
Nice. And since then, let's talk about some of your accomplishments because I love
Yeah.
some of the things that you've done. So, I mean,
Um,
let's take a minute and brag. Come on now.
so I'll go back to where it started, right? So you know, my real estate, oh, you come work for me. And so I joined his team, and I wouldn't have wanted to start any other way. I learned a lot from him.
Yeah.
And, the first year, I think it was 8 months. I did, it was either 11 or 13 transactions, and was kind of lazy. And just like everybody, I mean, no disrespect, just like a lot of agents that are out there, I didn't understand what activities to do and how important they were. And
Yeah.
if you don't understand what to do and how important that activity is, you damn sure aren't going to pick up the phone and start calling people. So towards the end of that year, my team leader and I had a moment. And inside of that moment, he said, "Man, have you done what I asked you to do? Like, have you actually picked up the phone and called these leads X amount of times, blah, blah, blah?" No. And I'm like, okay, so I guess I got to gear up and try this and just honor my word. So lo and behold, next 3 months, I,
It's
called
amazing.
2,000 people a month. And oh my God, I've got more business than I could possibly imagine what to do with after 3 months. And through that, so I'm ramping up and like I start housing like 5, 6, 7 pending, and we don't have a transaction coordinator. Well, then I'm like, at this time, I don't even know what a transaction coordinator is, but I know
Right.
that I'm doing all this paperwork crap, and I'm like, no, like there's no reason in the world I need to be doing this. So we transition another employee, and through that process, he actually started me asking me to train the other agents and help him build this team. And I did that for a while, and just various reasons that was not going to be the right fit, and it was time for me to leave there and start my own team. So came over to EXP after meeting Jay, Veronica, Jason, and they graciously took some time to sit down, meet with me, and made some promises to me, because that's I think at the core of whenever you're going to go to a brokerage is they all say pretty shiny things, right?
Yeah, they do.
But do you believe them when you look them in the eye and they promise they're going to be there to help you? And in this case I did. And coming through here, I think the results speak more to their help than anything else I could say. So
Yeah.
2020, I did 26 transactions as a buyer's agent. I'd never sold a listing, I had never generated a lead, didn't have my own website, didn't know how to promote, didn't know how to market. I basically only knew how to take somebody from being a lead to selling them a house.
Hmm.
And 2021, personally, I did 68 transactions. The team did 92. So that was me and one other person. And we did that with one admin staff. So we almost quadrupled in the very first year coming over here. Now towards the end of 21 was like, okay, I actually want to build a large team is what I made a decision on. And there were things that were missing. I didn't believe in our system at first. I didn't believe that I had a system that I could plug a brand new agent into and get them to run. And if you don't believe in something, you can try all you want, but
Yeah.
you're going to run into problems in terms of selling that vision. So over the last, 2022 is where things really came together, is where we finally understood the pieces of the puzzle. We understood that we needed core values, we needed standards, the technology that we needed, the lead generation that we needed. And here we are today in a massive shift where, I know of personally quite a few agents that are struggling, and we're still thriving because we have the right
Yep.
pieces put in place.
I would agree. It's been really an interesting journey to see. I mean, it's so cool to see the people that are been here, done that, and just will pour into you their knowledge, their experience, and they're taking years and years and years of their experiences and things that have worked and things that didn't work and just throwing it out there. And I just, yeah, if you're not successful, then you're not trying. Like you're just not, I mean, like I don't understand. So,
Well, so like you can YouTube anything, right?
yep.
But we're so blessed. Like I like, not saying that I don't, like we might not play phone tag to get it done, but like
Right.
I can call somebody that leads a team that sells 2,100 homes a year
Yep.
for free. Like
Yeah.
that's included inside of this. Okay. Like, and
Yeah.
then, from there, the question really is wherever you are, who do you have access to? Like you and I meet, we have, aside from maybe stock, like we have no real financial alignment, but we automatically love each other and want to see each other win. Right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Show me another company that has a culture like that. Like
Yeah.
show me somewhere else that we can go that like people genuinely have that for each other and want to see each other win. It's
Yeah.
happened so many times.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. Well, I love that your life journey has taken you from something, if you don't mind me saying,
Yeah.
broken
Yeah.
to something that's so amazing, and that you have a beautiful family and you've got a great team. He's with, by the way, the Adams Group Experience, which I love your name. Um, I like the team name. I was like, oh, that's really good. I like that. So in Brooksville, Florida, right? Brooksville. Yeah. So if you ever need anything, this is your guy for Central Florida. Do you have any final thoughts before we wrap it up today?
Yeah, if someone's watching this, I hope you got like just a couple nuggets out of this. But
Yeah.
you know, if you're struggling, the first thing I would encourage you to do is, who do you look up to that you feel like you can trust? Um, and don't be afraid to reach out to them. So even removed from anything to do with our group or our relationship or anything like that, when I first started, there were agents here locally that I looked up to, and this comes from any business. I'm just relating it to
Yeah.
real estate. But if you look up to that agent, have you already called that person? Not about their listing, not
Right.
about like, have you called that person and said, "Hey, I want to treat you to lunch. Hey, would you go and grab a coffee with me?" And if that answer is no, you haven't taken the first step. The first step is to reach out to people, is to ask them. I mean, if you call me and you genuinely want to put in the work and you want to know how I built my success, I'm going to afford the time in order to help you because I believe
All
that
day.
you'll actually make a change. And that's what I want to leave people with, is that if you really want to do this, reach out to the people you look up to, right?
Yep.
And that's it right there. Is start there, and you'll leave with action items, and you'll know what you got to do next in order to start the journey.
Yep. Which I'll say I just put one on my calendar right before we hopped on here. I'm meeting someone on Monday. So,
I
and
love it.
she reached out to me and all day long. Like that's why I'm here. I want to see others succeed. So she's got questions. Let's do this. Like, yeah,
Exactly.
whether or
That's it.
not you join my team, I don't care, but I want to see you succeed. So that's
That's
great.
it.
Well,
That's it.
awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And yeah, enjoy your Friday, kids.